IP or Internet Protocol. What is the IP? How we can use the IP? First, let me talk about the IP. IP is the abbreviation of the Internet Protocol. Okay, what is the protocol? Okay, what is the protocol and what is the difference of the protocol with software? We have two terms, software, okay, and then protocol. When you say we have a software, for example, we have Word as a software in our PCs, this means that this is a program that is working locally. This is a local program, okay? But when you say we have a protocol, for example, IP or HTTP, okay, this means that we have a program that is working between two or more systems. For example, between a PC and a web server. You know that we are using the HTTP for sending and receiving the web page, okay? This is the, for example, web server, and we are using the HTTP between the PC and web server for transforming the web page, okay? Now we can better use the protocol. Protocol is a software that we can use this software for transporting, for example, communicating between two systems or more than two systems, 4 systems, 5 systems, but not a local for example program. But the software is a local program. Look at here, Word is a software. Word program is a software, and you can use it locally without any communication with the other systems. But when you say protocol, this means that you have a for example program that you can use this program for communicating between some systems, for example 2, 3 or more than systems. For example, we have many protocols: HTTP, FTP, TFTP, Telnet, SSH, and other protocols, and also IP. IP is a protocol. This means that we are using the IP for communicating between systems. Okay, maybe you say no, IP is the, for example, this is the IP 192.168.1.1. I say that no, this is not IP, this is IP address. Okay, I will talk about the IP address, and this is so important for us, but you should, okay, you should know that we have two terms. That the first term is IP, means Internet Protocol, that this is a protocol. We use it for example, addressing and routing. I will talk about both of these concepts, addressing and routing. But IP has a component, we call it IP address. This means that when you use the IP address, okay, or IP, this for example address, this is one of the components of this protocol. Okay, you will learn about the IP, means the Internet Protocol, in this class, and after that also you will learn about the one of the components of this IP. We call it IP address. Because of that, until now, when you use the, for example, 192.168.1.1, you use the IP address, not the IP. But briefly, maybe you say this is IP, but this is IP address. Okay, let me to talk about the protocol. Until now, we learn about the difference between the protocol and software. Software vs, okay, protocol. This is the first things that we learn in this course. Okay, after that, now I'm going to talk about the protocol in this course, in the CCNA course, because we are talking about the communication between the systems. We need to know, we need to learn about the protocols, not software. Here we don't have any local software, we have only protocols. Many protocols exist, for example HTTP, for example IP, for example Telnet or DNS or DHCP, and some other protocols. You will learn about some of these protocols in this class, and also other protocols in the future class, CCNP or other classes. Okay, because of that, now we know that we will talk about the protocols in this course. Okay, we have many type of protocols. Okay, let me to talk about the protocol. What is the protocol? Yes, you know that protocol is a program that we can use it for communication between two or more systems. It's okay. But let me to give you one example, okay, to better understanding the function of the protocol. Look at this picture. In this picture, we have two men, okay? Here is the person one, and this is the person two, okay? Person one says hi, and person two says hi, and person one says got the time, and person two gives the time. Okay, this is the communication between two persons. Okay, after that, here we have a common language. The language is English. Because of that, because both of them are using the English language, they can understand the, for example, concepts of the communication. They can use the words of the English for talking with each other, and they can understand the communications. Okay. Assume that one of them is using the English and another, for example, is using the Arabic. This means that the person one cannot understand Arabic and the person two cannot understand the English. Because of that, they can't, okay, talk with each other, and this is a problem. Why? Because they are working two languages, okay, two different languages. They are using two different languages, and this is a problem. This means that if you want to communicate between two persons, you need a same language between these two persons, for example, English or some other languages, okay? Because of that, here we have a rule. That rule is the protocol. The protocol to communicating between two persons in this example is English language. The same language, the same rules, the same words, the same concepts between these two persons should be available to give them the ability to transfer the information to each other. Exactly the same things is happening between the computers. Look at here. Here we have a computer 1 and also computer 2. Assume that computer 1 needs to receive one web page from the computer 2. Okay, we need the same language between these two systems to communicating information, and also after that receiving the information, for example, a web page from the PC2. Assume that here we are using the HTTP. You know that, as I mentioned before, HTTP is a protocol, is a language that we can use it for sending and receiving data, okay, or web pages. For example, here we have the HTTP language, and also here we have the HTTP language. The PC1 says or request a TCP connection request. Don't worry about the detail. What is the TCP connection? You will learn about this, but assume that this is the first message. We call it a TCP connection request, then TCP connection reply. After some communication, this is the home page of the, for example, this site. This home page now is sending to the PC1. Okay, let me to write here. For example, here we have PC1. PC1 have the HTTP, and also we have PC2. PC2 also has HTTP. Okay, PC1 says the PC2, hey, please give me, okay, the web page of a special site, for example, the get message. And after that, okay, the PC2 should send the home page, okay, of the, for example, website to the PC1. Here we have some details. I'm not going to talk about the details because it is not our goal for to understanding the HTTP message in this time. Only I'm going to say that if you want to communicate between two systems for any reason, for example, receiving one web page, for example, receiving one file, or any other communication, sending email, receiving email, or other type of communication, we need the same language between the systems, and this language is the protocol. We have many protocols in our networks. For example, HTTP. HTTP is using for the communicating of the, for example, websites, web pages between the PCs. But if you want to send a file from PC1 to PC2, okay, you need to use another protocol. For example, we have a protocol, we call it FTP or file transfer protocol. Don't worry about the detail here. is not a place for talking about the detail of protocols. Only we need to know the general concept of the protocol.